Welcome back to Island Bike Life. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the all-new Pivot Trail 429. This is a revamped bike from Pivot that replaces their old 429 SL, which ended last year. This bike fits squarely into their trail riding category with 130mm suspension up front and 120 mils out back, running on 29-inch or 27.5 plus wheels. I got this bike from Jeff and the guys at Trail Bicycles located in Courtenay in the Comox Valley here on Vancouver Island. They are a premier dealer here of Pivot, Ibis, Trek, and other great brands. And if you're in the area and you're looking for a bike to take out or need something, go see these fellas. They'll sort you out. I was fortunate enough that I was able to bring this bike back to my home trails here in Nanaimo to put it through the tests. I focus primarily on the Dumont riding network, and this particular area has some great climbs, both fire road and single track, some really great trail riding, and excellent descending areas. It's a perfect environment to put the new Trail 429 through its paces, and it really didn't disappoint. This particular bike was a size large, and at 6'1" with a 33-inch inseam, I think I probably would have sized up to an extra large, though the sizing really wasn't all that bad. It was just a little bit tighter than what I was used to. The geometry itself does tend to provide a really great overall feeling bike in this trail category. The head tube angle on this one is a little bit steeper than some other trail bikes out there at 67.3 degrees with a C-tube angle of 74.6. The wheelbase on the bike lends to a really nice feeling bike right around 1200 millimeters on the size large. The overall reach was about 460 millimeters, and overall the chainstay length was pretty conservative, right around 430. The overall geometry on the bike resulted in really what was one of the funnest trail bikes that I've been on in a while. The build on this bike is the middle of the road build for Pivot. Their build kits are a little bit confusing. They have race, team, and pro split between Shimano and SRAM build kits. So there's no lack of options here when it comes to this bike. Like I say, the build kit on this was quite nice. It had a factory Fit 4 up front paired to a factory DPS in the rear. It was a full Shimano drivetrain, including an 1146 cassette, an XTR derailleur, an XT shifter with the new XT 2-piston brakes. The cockpit was Pivot branded stem with their carbon bar, and the wheels were a set of race face R30s wrapped to Maxxis rubber, a Recon, and a DHR2 in the back. And lastly, it had a Fox transfer dropper post paired to a WTB saddle. When it came to the climbing on the Trail 429, I really wasn't overly surprised. This is a trail bike with 120mm suspension out back. It has a DW Link suspension setup, which normally is a fairly firm and supportive pedaling platform, and that certainly was the case here once again. I didn't find in any situation, whether it was fire road or single track climbing, any noticeable or really perceived loss of efficiency through a lot of pedal bob on the bike. That being said, it wasn't so stiff that it caused me to not have traction when climbing. Up and over rocks and roots, the bike tracked really well, and my power was put down with every single pedal stroke. Single track climbing on the Pivot Trail 29 is really enjoyable. There is absolutely no movement in the suspension pedaling platform in the fully open mode. What a great setup. In all situations that I had when I was climbing on this bike, it really was just wonderful. This is probably one of the better trail bikes that I've ever been on and that I've ever pedaled. There was very little to no noticeable movement in the frame as well in turns, going up or downhill. Everything just felt really stout and I liked it a lot. And even though this bike does succumb to this new geometry standard, everything is a little bit steeper. It's not trying to push those boundaries of having a super slack head tube angle and a comparative seat tube angle. The bike is really put together quite nice. Your pedaling position on the saddle is excellent. You get your weight down over the front tire. There's lots of traction, and that power just gets put down. And so yeah, pedaling and climbing on this bike gets absolutely top marks and was really quite a joy. When trail riding, a lot of those same characteristics carried over. Because this bike felt very stout and very firm, it allowed me to put extra pedal strokes in on the trail. It tracked really well and was just an excellent and super fun trail riding experience. Like I say, I haven't been on a lot of trail bikes in the last little while. I've just been on longer travel bikes just by nature of the riding that I've been liking to do. And this bike, once again, just reminded me why this trail category is so important and really so much fun. Here where I live on Vancouver Island, a bike like this, or very similar in terms of geometry, spec and travel, really would be just about perfect. This particular bike, the Pivot Trail 429, when it came to trail riding, just made me smile absolutely the entire time. It tracked the ground so well. The bike, even though it looks very burly, had a very light feeling. I was able to move in and over things and cut my way through the trail really quite easily. And so all of this really resulted in just one of the funnest trail riding experiences I've had in the last couple of years. When it came to the descending, a lot of these same things sort of carried over once again. The bike isn't overly long, it's not meant to be, and so when I was into some more rowdy type descent situations, the bike did have a little bit of twitchy feeling to it, more than what I'm used to. But that being said, I'm used to riding a great big Yeti SB150 with an absolutely massive wheelbase. But because of the overall geometry setup, I never felt like the bike was outgunned or leaving me on the verge of disaster. I've been on other trail bikes in the past, ones that I've owned myself, that were a little bit steeper in the head tube angle and resulted in the feeling of some over-the-bar situations when it got to rowdy downhills. This bike gave me the confidence to continue to push it in a way that I would on my big enduro bike, keeping in mind there was about half or 2/3 less travel overall, front and back. Because the bike was very light feeling and very nimble, just like it was when trail riding, when it came to descending, it made for a very fun and engaging ride. I was moving around the trail, ducking in and out of rocks and roots, and And so that resulted in a bike that was very fun to descend on. When you look at this bike in its comparative category, I don't think there's any doubt that Pivot continues to maintain this sort of boutique price tag. Their build kits are a little bit confusing to me. There's a lot of options there and the prices do range. Though for the pricing that you do pay or that you can get into this bike for, Pivot does have a lot of value there. They're not very heavy on putting in their own branded items, which I like, with the exception of their stem and their carbon handlebar. So you're getting some more component-specific manufacturers being put onto this bike. Overall, you're going to pay a little bit more for a Pivot, but you are going to get a really well-made bike. It looks great. The carbon layup is excellent. The DW Link suspension really is almost perfectly well done. The warranty is amazing, and just the fit and finish really is up there when it comes to bike manufacturers. And so you're going to pay a little bit more, but I really do think the value is there. So overall, what are my final thoughts when it came to the Pivot Trail 429? Well, I think it's pretty clear that I liked it a lot. It was just a super fun bike to ride in every situation. It climbed incredibly well. The power transfer was excellent. It was a light, very fun and lively bike when I was trail riding. And when it came to descending, it was a very engaging bike. In those situations, sometimes I had found in the past that trail bikes can kind of deter me from taking on really aggressive or more aggressive downhill situations than what the bike category might lend to, but that wasn't the case here. I would have no problem taking this bike down just about any trail that I ride in general. No, it's probably not going to be as fast, it's not going to be as soft, but this bike can definitely take it. I hope you like this look at the all-new Pivot Trail 429. If you want to take this or one of their other bikes out for a test, go see Jeff and the guys at Trail Cycles. They'll sort you out. If you like what I'm doing here, think about hitting the subscribe and the like button. Leave me a comment down below and come and find me on Instagram. And as always, thanks again for watching. Now let's go hit the trails.